Big Frank and Mavis's sister Janice kept long working hours. She sometimes worked 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. As Janice came home from work, her neighbor Grace pulled up beside her.
Look at you. You're working to death trying to live. But if you drop dead, nothing much would change. Things would just keep on going.
Grace was a better living believer, and every time she had an opportunity, she would preach a sermon to whoever. Once, someone dialed her phone number accidentally, and Grace asked him,
Hello? Oh, I think you've got the wrong number, but did you know that Jesus can help you through hard times?
2 hours later, this complete stranger was praying that Jesus would be his best friend. Looking at Janice struggling with her heavy work bag, she had a sermon for her.
Many people are like you, Janice. They don't want to give their baggage to Jesus, but insist on carrying it. Don't you know that Jesus has given us a weekly Sabbath?
Now the word Sabbath sounded familiar to Janice because Pastor Navarro during the second week of the revival spoke about it. He shared that it came around every Saturday. Many churches in the world celebrate their Sabbath on Sunday. Some Roman emperor hundreds of years ago had a vision, became a Christian, and tried to make Christianity as easy as possible to accept. Since many Romans worship the sun, he made every Sunday a day off from work, making it very popular. Sunday was the day that Jesus rose from the dead, so clearly they thought it was more sacred.
Girl, Saturday is a bad day to rest. Don't you know it's the best day for sales?
You can trust in God, who is quite good at providing for our needs. And don't think I've always been a good Sabbath keeper. But you know on Sabbath we don't do business.
I heard that's a proper practice.
One Sabbath, one of our leaders had a for sale sign on his minivan. It was worth at least $7,500. I walked up to him and said, if it wasn't the Sabbath, I'd ask you how much you are asking for that van. He replied, if it wasn't the Sabbath, I'd tell you $1,235. Well, I said, if it wasn't the Sabbath, I'd tell you to meet me at the bank on 9:30 on Monday. But since it's the Sabbath, I won't discuss any business. See you on Monday.
That night, at the revival, it was mayhem. Everybody wanted a laptop, of course. Janice was acting like the goat, taunting Grace, telling her that goat was what she would win, while Silky was giving everyone advice for what they could do with the 3-month supply of pumpkins. Mavis wanted that laptop so badly that she forced Big Frank to come to the meeting, took 2 quiz cards, and filled out both. All right, once again, it's quiz time, and let's get this cracking. Now, Grace, this question is for you. Number 1, for the following phrases, I want you to find which best describes the Sabbath. Exodus chapter 20, verse 8 through 11. Verse 8 says, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Verse 9, 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. Verse 10, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. In it you shall not do any work, you nor your son or your daughter, your male or female servant, or your cattle, or your sojourner who stays with you. Verse 11, for in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rested on the 7th day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. So from the following phrases, I want you to best describe the Sabbath. A, the 7th day. B, rest from work. C, church in the morning, then off to the ball game and supermarket in the afternoon.
I want to focus on B because people just want to work, and they're trying to work till they drop. And I wouldn't call any names, but I'll point an elbow at them.
Grace, all this talk about rest, but does your mouth ever get a Sabbath's rest?
Now don't start any problems, y'all. Let's get back to the quiz. Now tell me, which of the following are good Sabbath-keeping practices? Nehemiah chapter 10, verse 31. As for the peoples of the land who bring wares or any grain on the Sabbath day to sell, we will not buy from them on the Sabbath or a holy day. Nehemiah 13:15 says this, in those days I saw in Judah some who were treading wine presses on the Sabbath and bringing in sacks of grain and loading them on donkeys, as well as wine, grapes, figs, and all kinds of loads, and they brought them into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day. So I admonished them on the day they sold food. So once again, which are good Sabbath-keeping practices? A, bargaining for minivans. B, shopping since Saturday is the best day for sales? Or C, resting and refraining from buying and selling?
For some people, it's bargaining for minivans, and I wouldn't call names either.